Yo, 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 yo to the community, man. Welcome into the Crispy Capping Show, behind the curtain with your favorite capper series. My name's Chris, Crispy Capping on Twitter and YouTube. I handicap sports and provide free betting analysis to the community. I'm the host of the Crispy Capping Show on YouTube and Twitter, where I analyze sports for bettors, teaching the gambling community how to bet smarter and to be more profitable long term. I'm also a big student of the game, man. I've had my own successes, but I'm also always looking to learn. So I figured I might as well, pick some of the sharpest minds in the gambling space, man. I decided to reach out to some of the greatest, most successful, inspirational cappers that I've come into contact with in the gambling space and pick their brains by conducting interviews with them to take the audience behind the curtain to learn a little more about their favorite cappers as a capper, but also as a person. So, with that being said, man, I want to welcome in my guy. Welcome in OG Wham.
Come on, man.
So Wham has been handicapping sports for 10 years. It's crazy because gambling Twitter is such a new thing. But Wham go way back, which is why I added the OG to his name, man. He started in about 2012. He's affiliated with at Bangin' Who, Pub Sports Radio, which is where I know him from, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And Edge House. If you guys don't know what Edge House is, definitely look it up. But I'm pretty sure Wham will talk to you guys a little bit about that as well. A big thank you to my guy for being here, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Wham, and as I like to call him, OG Wham. What's going on, my
Oh
brother? How
man,
you
it's
doing,
all
man?
love, Chris. Man, I appreciate you having me on here, bro. I love the concept, bro. Love what you're doing here. Love for your force, bro. You putting it into the gambling community, man, and what you're doing to provide great content, bro. This is great, and I appreciate you, bro, for hitting me up first, man. That's all love, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, bro. So first and foremost, I think I just want to kind of connect the dots for the audience. So before I was doing, Twitter Spaces and had my little run of fame, Wham was on Pub Sports Radio. Him, he was on there, with his guys. Shout out to the guys, man. They know who they
Shout out to
are.
Dutch, yeah.
Shout
Shout out
out
to
to
Bogano.
definitely, yeah, all of them. Shout out to Ski. Shout out to the
Yep.
whole crew, man. But yeah, they were, they do sports betting content daily. Specifically in the NBA, they was doing a show at 4 o'clock Eastern time. I was getting off work, man, and I was like, yo, I gotta tune in. I gotta check out and see what my guys are talking about. So Wham, that's where he gets the OG from, man. He's been doing this for a while. A lot of people blowing up, but Wham been on the scene for a minute, man. So that's me and Wham kind of ran into each other. I think it might have been on Sosa show. Sosa show, we did social show together. Wham would hop
Right,
into the spaces. We started following each other. I've
right.
always liked Wham's energy, man. I'm always say I'm not gonna bring anybody on the show that I just can't rock with their energy. I got a master's in counseling, so I can pretty much pick up on the BS. You know what I mean? I can look through and kind of be
That's
able to
tight.
read people at times, man. So Wham was somebody that kind of inspired me to get going. That I
I
that
appreciate
I
that,
that, not for sure that just kind of paved the way for all of us in the gambling Twitter community, man. Somebody I would consider on the Mount Rushmore.
that's
So yeah,
crazy. That's
welcome
crazy.
in, man. Welcome in, bro. You ain't
That's
even know all
crazy.
that, bro. But yeah,
Nah,
I'm gonna
you
give
know
you a
it's
flowers,
crazy.
bro.
I was telling you behind before we started, like, man, it seemed like it hasn't been that long. But then you say 10 years. I'm like, yo, that is a long ass time, bro. Like my daughter's been like kind of like she's 11, so her whole growth is kind of like the reason why
Mhm.
I'm growing into this person. So it's crazy to see all that, and then man, just to hear you say all that, man, it's just crazy, bro. Like that's crazy, man. Just to think how quickly things escalate and get to the point and where you at right now, and what you doing, bro. I consider, you are elite, bro. Like you doing this shit is amazing, bro. And like, man, just hearing that, I appreciate you, bro. But that's why I was like, man, before we start, I'm like, man, I really appreciate you even hitting me up, bro, because this is something that we don't normally see in the day and age right now. People don't give each other flowers. People don't really, saying certain things, and that's why I say this to you, bro. Like what you're doing right now is amazing, and I, man, appreciate you being letting me be a part of it, bro. That's all love,
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man.
for sure.
All love, man. Let's get into the questions, bro.
Yeah, man.
I got a lot. I want to pick your brain. I know the audience want to hear, the answers to some of these questions as
They
well,
see the
bro. So let's
background
get
too.
into it. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get into the background too, for sure. So I like to start with this though, man. Before handicapping sports, man, you're a person. You're a human. You're a father. You talked about a little bit already. What's Wham typically doing, man, when he's not handicapping games and trying to find some money, man? What are the personal hobbies? What are we doing?
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm watching games for sure. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Watching a lot of games, watching a lot of film. My kids watch games with me. I do take care of my kids, of course, full time father. I have three beautiful children. A son that just turned 1, daughter just turned 7, the other one 11. My oldest daughter. So I've been dad, family man. Been with my wife for 13 years, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Nice,
feel me?
bro.
Like,
It's different
it's
for
just one
us,
of those
man.
things. Yeah, it's just one of those things, man. I've been able to find an avenue and been able to have a little hobby. So this is definitely one of the things I love, enjoy to do. But on the outside of the world, bro, I still go to work. I still handle business. You know what I'm saying? Just like you mentioned too. Yeah, I still take care of my means, and I try to be conscious of my thoughts and shit like that. So try to always check myself and everything. So I appreciate, and that's great. I didn't know that you're a counselor, so now I'm gonna have to actually bring my problems to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm bring my
I've
problems
never
to you
said.
now.
I don't think I've ever said that before when I'm like on any of the spaces,
Right,
any of that, bro. But I just,
right.
like I said, I can pick up on energy. A lot of that stuff
That's
is like
tight.
relational and different stuff like that. So for
That's
sure,
tight.
bro. And
That's tight.
I love everything that you just said. When I'm like,
Oh yeah,
just
man.
going behind the curtain just a tad bit, man. Being able to kind of take care of your family, not just being like a dad, but being a father. Like to your
Yeah,
kids.
man.
We could talk about that stuff off
Yeah,
camera, man.
man.
But
It's a
that's
beautiful thing.
significant,
Father's
bro.
Day just
Yeah,
happened, so happy Father's Day to you
exactly.
as well. Happy
Yeah,
belated Father's Day to you, brother.
happy belated happy Father's Day to you as well, man, for sure, bro. Moving along, man. Let's talk about sports in general, man. Or have you ever like played? Did you play sports growing up? Like any
Yeah,
organized sports, high school travel team, YMCA league? What
so
you
it's
do?
so it's crazy. I never played high school sports. It's crazy how that happened because my life was crazy, bro. I could go into a whole different. It's a whole nother story. You feel me? That's a whole nother story. But the reason why I wasn't engaged in sports, I always played basketball. I always played with actually good competition. I played against like NBA players and held my own in certain times. So I actually can hoop, but I never actually put that to test. I never had that solidified. My little brothers played more sports, active sports than me, but and I'm the oldest, you feel me? So I had to take the little, situations. We live in a situation that, things kind of got out of hand quickly. We had to move different places and stuff like that. So wasn't able to really get my foot in certain spots that I was at. So that's kind of what I would say about that. But for the most part, I did play, you know what I mean? I played a lot, bro. Like all the time when I wanted to get out the house. That's pretty much what you did. You know what I'm saying? Either you was doing other things or you was really playing sports. So I played a lot of sports. I sold a lot of candy. I always been like a hustler type of mentality. You know what I mean? I had a job at a young age. My uncle used to pick us up for a weekend. So I always had things that I was doing. But sports is something that I always naturally gravitated to. My uncle, is Jeep Jackson. He played at UTEP, bro. Like he played at UTEP, point guard at UTEP, right underneath Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway was just like young freshman type shit. Like, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? He had great stats. You can look him up. His name is Hernell Jeep Jackson. You can look him up, bro. UTEP legend, bro. And I always had athletics, genetics. You feel me? So I always had that standout look. I'm 6'5", 240 pounds. You feel me? So I'm always gonna stand out when I walk somewhere. So people always ask me that, but I never really got to put it to test, bro, because circumstances and shit like that. But I love hoop, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, second nature, bro. I was playing yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Facts. Okay. So transitioning, and I didn't know you were 6'5". Well, I mean, you can't
Yeah,
tell on the
bro.
camera, but
Yeah, you
yeah,
can't tell.
people can't tell for sure, bro. But
Yeah.
transitioning, Wham, like that's who Wham is as a person, diehard Laker fan, family man. Let's talk a little bit about the capping though, man. We
Okay.
talked about it in the beginning. I read it in your bio. You've been capping since 2012.
Right.
Talk to the people a little bit about that. What got you started? What inspired you, man?
Well, I'm blessed to have a good family, bro. And my sister, she's married to DJ Big Boss, who I consider as a legend, bro. Like really kind of pushed the envelope for me as far as to even get into gambling, sports gambling. I will say that my mom did teach me how to shoot dice when I was like in sixth grade. You know what I'm saying? My mom taught me how to shoot dice when I was sixth grade. I've always had like a gambling aspect, like if I start off with $5 for the day, I could possibly make this 150. You know what I'm saying? And
That's a hell of a
so, and
mindset. I love it.
it's been happening when I was a little kid. So I just always had that mindset. Well, shit, we gotta flip this money somehow, some way. And if it's illegal, you know what I'm saying, we gonna try to do it. But in this case, we figure out a way to get it done and put it in the books, you know what I'm saying, that the IRS know about it. So shout out to the boys, but you know what I'm saying, we gotta add that to the funds, you feel me? So it got to the point right now, bro. Like, when I go back and think about how I started, I got to give nothing but credit to DJ Big Boss because I didn't sports bet before I met him, bro. Like, he taught me about the lines, some things that we don't really get taught in our community, you know what I'm saying, as far as like how to gamble I believe, at least in my circle, no one ever taught us how to gamble. There are some uncles that were doing it, but it was so casted on, like it was such, put as like, a stigma. They didn't come out and teach the little kids none of that. So we didn't really catch that.
Nah.
We had to find that on our own. So that's how I feel like DJ Big Boss, he had a father that taught him, and he was able to get that information to me. So I always got to give credit to him, because I wasn't capping sports or looking into like, stats and everything. I was all eye test, what I mean? Maybe like, oh, okay, I'll go ahead and bet with him, but that's it. But then eventually I start to see his process. So I started capping sports, bro. And then, go into the games prior, you know what I mean? It was so many different levels that I had to crack open, bro, before I got to where I'm at right now, of course, before I dissect the game and, what to throw out and what to actually add into the capping and things like that. And everyone does something different. You know what I'm saying? We always talk about this all the time. Like, everyone can do something and get the same outcome, but there's very little people that could do the same thing that you do and get the same outcome that you get. You know what I'm saying? So it's everything, it's all about muscle memory. Everyone's shot is different. You know what I mean? You got to throw that thing in, it still goes in. So that's kind of how, I seen him translate his cap in as far as like college football, into, college basketball. To he don't really do NBA, but I was like, oh, NBA, I watch NBA all the time. I'm going to slide into NBA. I'm going to slide into baseball, so things like that. So it kind of worked out for me. And yeah, definitely DJ Big Boss, man. He put me up under his wing. I think it was 2012, bro. I went to Vegas with him. We started capping games, and then ever since then, bro, it was just I was like reborn almost. You know what I'm saying? Like, my wife looked at me different, like, damn, you really into this? I was like, yeah, so it was a cool thing, bro.
That's what's up, and that's what's up. So you talked a little bit about like who inspired you and what inspired you. Do you remember like the first moment that you were like, you know what, like, yo, I could probably do this? Like, you got like a aha moment?
Yeah, you know what? I would say this though, because it was times that we was going to gamble in Vegas. I didn't take that shit back to Cali. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I didn't take it back to Cali. So it was more like a part-time thing. So I think the aha moment is when I discovered Bovada and I started live betting. It was in October for sure. And it was a playoffs. And I started live betting. I forgot who the pitcher was, but he was striking out everybody. He had like 8 strikeouts in a row. And by the third one, I started live betting the strikeout prop, which at that time was like plus 230. So I was just, just normally betting, like gradually betting at that time. I wasn't necessarily seeing myself as far as like success, because I was taking it like a half-ass moment, you know what I mean? But once I start seeing like, oh shit, like I could really strike these motherfuckers. They wide open right here. You know what I'm saying? They wide open right here.
You gotta get that line adjusted.
Yeah, you see a little blood in the water, you know what I'm saying? You act like a shark, and they was wide open. So I took advantage of it. I wish I could tell you exactly what game that was, bro. But I remember just being in such a like overwhelming feeling. I know the feeling. Like, once you get on the streak and you start winning games, you want to gamble more. And I find myself finding in that urge. And I remembered like it was a process that bro was doing. And I started taking that on. And sure enough, bro, I found the SBR channel. I started off there, you know what I'm saying, with Peter Loshak. And before it was Jimmy the Bag, it was a guy named Mike Brenner. And it was a long time ago, bro. And I'm like, I'm watching these guys. They capping the game on a show, and they have a live audience, and it's like a whole thing. So I'm always engaged into the comments. People talk like about the comments and everything, and people watching my show. It's crazy because I was just like that. I was watching Mike Brenner. I was watching Peter Loshak, and then eventually it was Jimmy the Bag. I made a relationship with Jimmy and Peter Loshak and all those guys, and it kind of like blew up from there, bro. But that's a little bit more to the story, like, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't know. Like, I really started off doing shows based off of Jimmy the Bag and Peter Loshak and all those guys, because they kind of just put us up under their wings. They seen like what type of market it was going, what type of market was headed, and they seen us. You know what I'm saying? They were just like, "Oh, y'all cool. Let's come to Vegas with us." I won the poker tournament. Check this out. So it's an IFBC thing. They don't really do no more, right? So SBR, which is Sportsbook Review, they actually go into grading offshore accounts. If people don't know, you know what I'm saying? So they're like the Yelp. I always explain this to people, like they're like the Yelp of gambling, you know what I'm saying? When you
Mm-hmm.
think about offshore accounts, who would you trust? You know what I'm saying? Who has the most pictures? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Before you go in there and eat their food. So that's kind of how Sportsbook Review is. And they had this conference where, you know, they had guys like Jason Whitlock there, and I forgot Clay Travis, that other guys that was there, giving out, you know, stuff about, you know, gambling, giving us an insight of their lives, how I am pretty much doing it today. You know what I'm saying? And in that they had a free roll poker tournament, and they were invited us over, gave us rooms and shit. Me and boss, we go there. I win the tournament. You know what I'm saying? I win the tournament because I play poker, right? And I win the tournament. It's like a 2,000 free roll, so they give us 2,000. And I'm like fucking the star now. You know what I'm saying? I'm already, like I said, 6'5". I'm already a big motherfucker.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm
You the
saying? But then I
man.
win, and then I win the shit. So it was a cool thing, bro. I was able to meet Teddy Covers, big man on campus, meet a lot of people that I looked up to, a lot of people that inspired me to do this shit that didn't look like me. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? It's all good, but they was all love, embraceful, super love. You feel me? So it's only right, bro, that we doing this right now. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said like it started off really like there. That's where I guess you could say I got my name on the map and shit. I won the poker tournament. You know, that shit started off from there. But we started doing shows after that and everything too. But it was a beautiful thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was a beautiful thing. But that kind of leads into all the crazy. I know one of the questions you're gonna ask me about how the crazy stuff goes together with Twitter. I will recap that part. We'll go back to there. We go back to that story a little bit because it gets a little crazy afterwards.
I bet. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's keep it going. Well, that's a hell of an answer, man. And you dropped some gems in there too. So I hope people picked up on those.
Man.
And if you didn't, you know, rewind that, man, because there's definitely some gems dropped in there for sure. And some big time names, man. Like you said, shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to Teddy, you know, guys, like you said, influential, Teddy, inspirational guys, you know what I mean? That's been doing this long term, you
Forever.
know what I mean?
You know, he told me crazy stories too. Like, it's a blessing. Every time I go to Vegas, man, I don't really get to link up with him, but I think next time I'll be able to link up with him, man. But it's been always beautiful to know those guys, bro. I mean, when they followed me on Twitter, I was just like, bro, you should see me. I was like, yo, I'm really, what the fuck? Like, this shit was crazy.
I done had them moments to it. I done had them. I think we all have, bro, for sure. For sure. Transitioning just a little bit when, you know, still in the capping thing, but long term, goal wise, what are you thinking, man? Like what do you see? What do you want? What inspires you?
Yeah, I mean, to start off, like, especially after what I just said there, you know, seeing like the beginning was there and like how momentum we had. I mean, it's only right to take this shit over, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Be the new generation, be the new media, like J-Mon is saying. But as far as like gambling wise, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not that many people doing it, especially on the West Coast. You know, a lot of my friends, they still are kind of ignorant to what's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? They just see me posting certain things and like, oh, snaps. Like, they don't know how this is becoming like the reality of the space. And honestly, it's because of regulations. It's because of, you know, the lawmakers and things like that. So once those things get uplifted, they are expecting to have, you know, certain gambling things, you know, being the ballot this year. So we'll get to see what happens there as far as California wise. But I expect everything to kind of keep pushing, bro. And then, you know, eventually investors will come where they come. And that's where we at, bro. And we're going to be right there. As far as like me and you, my fault, yo.
No,
me
good.
and you know what I'm saying? Me and you, we kind of right there though, you know what I'm saying? As far as like, you know, being that focal point, being that forefront, you know, as far as like a whole different demographic that don't really know about gambling, that can possibly educate someone on how to make a right, proper bet. It doesn't necessarily have to be about a hot take or any crazy hot gambling, you know, big plus money winner or crazy things like that. It could just basically be about the information and how someone dissects the game, and you can just get information off of that. And I tell people all the time that start off, it's like you don't necessarily have to have a whole team. Everyone is giving out information for free on Twitter. You just have to follow the right people, follow the right beat writers. You get a lot of information that, you know, you normally would have to pay for on a regular basis, that people charge certain services. And think like no wrong to people that charge services and things like that or whatever, but I don't think that's my future. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be more so about like, you know what I'm saying, how I can help someone make a good gamble prediction or make someone be a better capper or whatever the case is. But I think that's my future, bro. And honestly, I don't know where it's going to end. But I told my wife, I told everybody, like, my plan is to make it on the TV one day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that's the case, like, I'm trying to be on TV with this shit. So, you know what I mean? However steps I got to make to get there, that's what we're going to do. But for right now, that's kind of like the goal. It's nothing like necessarily set in stone, but obviously making the most money that we can every damn season. That's definitely the goal. Every chance I get, you know what I'm saying? If I'm throwing a bet out there, I'm trying to win that shit. My money is on this shit. I'm trying to win. You feel me? I'm not trying to look crazy. You feel me? I'm not doing this shit to, what I'm saying? I'm not doing this like other people. I'm not giving no names out there that's trolling and shit. I'm not doing none of that. This is not me. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you, bro, we talked about earlier about this is about your boys. I'm gonna tell you my family. I'm gonna tell you how it is. And definitely we trying to win every day, bro. We trying to win.
Absolutely.
That's the number one goal. But as far as like the content shit, yeah, I want to see myself on TV. You know what I'm saying? I want to get, I really appreciate you, bro. Cause like I said, like, you know what I'm saying? You don't really see people giving their flowers or even seeing like my work being rewarded because people are ignorant to this shit. So that's somebody that's very aware of it, you say that things about me, bro. I just only like it just warms my heart. I sound a little soft and shit, but it's kind of like just gives me like
we can do that, bro.
Like,
yeah, we can validate each other for sure.
That shit is all love.
Sure.
I appreciate you, bro.
For sure. Now, big love, man. Big love right back at you, bro. Right back at you for sure. I think you got really, good goals and aspiration, and that's kind of where we align too, man. Like everything you said was about like educating the people, right? Like so that they aren't ignorant to, what a minus 115 is and why that's better than a minus 165, right? Or you know what I mean? Like what's the difference between a money line and taking the spread, right? Like whatever the case might be. So just educating people at a very basic level so that they can make better informed decisions to, as you said, long term be profitable, right? Like we want to cash. We gonna lose and go through cold streaks at the end of the day, but the goal is always to make as much money as possible, right? Like that is the goal.
Sure.
That's the goal.
That's really it.
That's really it. That's it for sure. So talk to me a little bit about we know how big of a basketball head you are, but talk to me a little bit about your favorite sports to cap and why that's your favorite sports to cap.
So the same reason why I gave you the story about the strikeout props live. I was doing the same thing in tennis. Then just watching tennis with my daughter. I've always been intrigued with it. I'm from Compton, so Serena Williams and all that. You always, you kind of put yourself in that bracket, of greatness just because they come from the same place you come from. Mm-hmm. So I always I watch and observe tennis, and one time I was watching it live. Same thing, man. When the tiebreaker comes, so as far as like when the game is going on, 15 love, 30 love, 40 love is kind of where the actual scoring system is as far as for tennis. And when it gets to 40-40, you know what I'm saying? Or, when it gets to 40-40, it becomes a deuce. And pre-game, those deuces are always plus money. So same reason why I'm observing the strikeouts, I'm observing these guys, these ladies are going in deuce every time. They're evenly matched.
Competitive, yeah.
And again, the book is wide open. You know what I'm saying? They don't give this out no more because I think a lot of people pick this shit up, because I definitely did. And or they don't give it out to me. That's probably what it is. They don't give it out to me though. And I took advantage, and it was big plus money, plus 230s, plus 180s. Eventually, it got down to like plus 100. That's when I knew I was on the right spot of things. And I've always been intrigued with numbers. And I'm sorry, bro, for going into that.
No.
Your question about like what sports I really like to cap, and it's really I like all the sports, bro. I like all sports, like because you can find that edge, and you get that same feeling, being like, okay, this is a great opportunity to make money. And then honestly, you don't want to leave money on the table. I have way more stories about me not betting a side or not betting a prop. And I was like, damn, I should have bet that, especially like a home run prop. Those are the worst because, like, I expect Mike Trout to hit a home run today. And damn, he hit a home run. So no, I should have bet Vladdy's home run yesterday. That was a perfect example yesterday. I didn't bet Vladdy's home run. He knocked that out the park. I'm like, oh, man, I'm watching the game live. It's sick. So, I like all sports. I like baseball. I like basketball, of course. Football is one of those sports I've always been kind of like disattached from, even though I played throw-up tackle and things like that. I never cared about Hell Week or anything, so I just never wanted to get involved with football.
Put yourself
bro. I didn't want to do nothing. I was trying to get girls. I was trying to get money. Right. I had no time for all that. You know what I'm saying? Right. I appreciate all the football people out there. You know what I'm saying? I guess I was a lazy kid, bro. I was not trying to be a part of no Hell Week, none of that. So I never really got all the way into football, but I love football. Fantasy football is like one of my favorite things to do. And then honestly, fantasy football is the reason why I do cap all sports, because I cap fantasy football and I put a little bit of my capping into my NFL capping, as far as like how fantasy football and things of that nature, because that's the things that aren't added into the line. And if they aren't added into the line, you can see it. It's like very clear that it's added into the line. So that's a way to, be able to kind of identify what situation you are in. And I learned a lot from like Donnie Rice side and other guys.
Shout out to Donnie, man. Shout out to Donnie
Rice
for
side.
sure, bro.
I learned a lot from him based off of football, because what he does is a lot of, situations and weather things and, things of that nature. Everything's always tied into one specific situation. So I've always tried to take football from a lot of these great minds like Boss, that actually played out there, things like that. So, it's always different ways of doing it. But fantasy is a definitely good way for me to, find my way into certain games. Like, I never betted golf or anything, but if I ever was to, I'm going to fantasy first, and I'm looking at how they're pricing out the golfers. Then I'm going to go into the look at the odds to see where that correlates with the odds with the fantasy, because there's similarities sometimes, but there's mostly they're different markets. So you can definitely find a different too, even though they're dissecting the player the same way. Like, so I do a lot of that when it comes to like Nerfies, for example. Everyone asks like no runs first inning. Last year we did great. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be smart this year. You feel me? I ain't trying to do too much. You feel me? Because I didn't do too much last year. I just gave out, what I normally do. And I got that from Boss. Like, Boss started doing no runs first inning first, and I try to make an edge out of it. Start looking at the daily fantasy pitchers for the day. Who's the lowest grade pitcher? What does that Nerfy look like for that player? What the Yerfy looks like for that player? And who's he going up against? What the lineup looks like? What the recent stats are? All that stuff. So that's been helping me out a lot with that. So it's been all different type of ways that find ways for me to fall in love with a sport. We did like a baseball contest. I was going up against like real good baseball cappers, didn't even know it, but I was winning and shit. And I was like, oh damn, like I guess I am pretty good at baseball. Right. So it was like all different type of ways I was able to realize or identify that, I shouldn't be scared to put my money, because that's another thing. We got kids and everything. I'm not trying to risk all my kids' food on their table. Right. We gotta be smart here, right? So I still gotta make right decisions. But yeah, I like all sports, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I could pretty much talk to you about everything, but just not at the in depth like I can about basketball.
Right. So would you say basketball is your favorite sport to bet on?
Yeah, for sure, bro. For sure, man. Like, it's the only sport I really play. So, you know what I mean? Like, I play baseball. My pops was drafted it from the minors in Oakland and shit like that.
Okay.
But I mean, I got it in my blood to play those type of sports, but nah, it's just I'm a basketball head, bro. It's just what it is.
Right. Yeah. Nah, same here, man. Same, bro. Yeah. I could go on for hours about the same exact thing, bro, for sure. Transitioning, well, let's talk about let's kind of reintroduce that story that we talked about, right? Yeah. What's the craziest thing you think you've seen, like in the gambling world, like Twitter involved, Twitter not involved? Give us a crazy story, man.
Yeah, and I ain't trying to name names, but it's kind of like you got to here. So yeah, it's only right. So I start off back where we was left off. So after I won the gambling, the poker contest for SBR, Jimmy and the actual higher ups for SBR kind of put me up to the side, along with the Ski Prophet, to what we know today who was Ski Prophet there. I met him there. And also another guy named King Rail, whose handle is King Rail. Shout out to him, you know what I'm saying? No disrespect, but it's just where it kind of gets a little disrespectful, because they added us into his show, right? So they added us into his show. It was all love. And this is my first real introduction into gambling Twitter. And we started off this actual coalition. It's called the Money Gang Coalition. A lot of great cappers was involved into this actual, this group chat, you could say, right? And what we were doing is similar to any other group chat regarding gambling. You would put your plays in there. We all kind of have arguments, maybe, in between certain times. And we got some hotheads, some guys that may be unstable, you feel me, inside the group chat that, whatever the case is. So we had that type of dynamic to start off. SBR, they kind of gave us a platform there to do a show with him, and we were doing a NBA breakdown show, right? and we're doing it live though. So the games will be on, and we'll be dissecting the games, watching the games, and still capping out the rest of the card. You know what I'm saying? So there's 7 to 10 p.m. games out there on the East Coast, so we'll still be capping the cards, but the 7 o'clock games on the East Coast are on. So it was great content. We'll have live spots. We'll know when certain guys, like, it was really good as far as back and forth, and we had something great going, bro. Like, the shit was like moving fast, bro. And you know how it is when certain things move fast. You got some people that's a little bit like, let's just say they get me involved, they get you involved, but this is bro show. It's gonna be bro show, and then that's just what it was. And he, motherfuckers started feeling some type of way. This is kind of how me and Ski really became close, because we started feeling the same way about the show. And I've always been like second fiddle. You feel me? Like, people really didn't give. I feel like at that time, I didn't have the same type of respect, because what I was articulating couldn't really get registered in people's ear, because I had to develop this shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's something for me. Like, I don't really like to talk too much, so I had to develop this. And at the time, we still could win games. We still have lose streaks, whatever. But my consistency wasn't really there. A lot of things at the house I was dealing with too. So I was really trying to find my way into doing this show. I say that about my side of things. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I still was showing up. I still was there, still trying to do the show, still trying to make it work. But, bro just kept doing some, like, crazy shit. And, things just started getting out of hand. You start going, motherfuckers, you already know. You like motherfuckers, when they really, like, got a superiority complex, bro, you can see the shit, like, clear. You know what I mean? Like, they over-exaggerate things. They do too much. Like, you know what I mean? You shouldn't have to. If you walking around here like you 7 feet, you shouldn't have to walk around here talking that shit. You already walking around here 7 feet, bro. You know what I'm saying? Your shit is already stated. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I feel about certain cappers in gambling Twitter, period. But for sure, he was the craziest part, because we did a whole show. We started this whole crazy good show, bro. And bro went crazy. Said fuck the deal. Said fuck us first. Said fuck us. Got J Money. Started doing the show with J Money. Shout out to J Money too. That's how crazy shit the world goes, because, like, we all cool with everybody that was cool except for him. Like, what I mean? We still was supposed to be doing this shit together. Like, we literally met each other, you know what I'm saying? Smoke a blood, you feel me? Hanging out. Like, we had the same type of dialogue that I would have with you, Sosa, everyone else. It just, bro couldn't really get with the program. And it wasn't about like any program at all. It was just like, you can't just be out of terms on certain things or acting crazy. Like, motherfucker said some crazy shit. He ain't want to do nothing in person though. Like, we run into motherfuckers in person, they don't want to do nothing. So, I see some crazy shit go on at Gambling Twitter. They ain't about to push no grace, bro. That's for sure. There's nothing to be worried about. They ain't about to do nothing out there. But he, for sure, is definitely one of the motherfuckers that I'll put out there, because I don't want to say his name no more, because it's just too much clout for bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's just what it is. Like, we done bro done kicked us off the show. We done still went up. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is, but hey, it's all a blessing though, bro. Like, I say that's one of the crazy. Sure, that's one of the craziest things, because I was right involved in it. But I've seen way crazier. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you ask the real question, I'm just gonna tell you how I feel about things that I was involved in. But I'm always sidelined to some real crazy shit. Like, oh wow, like, gambling Twitter get dirty. There's some scumbags out there,
Absolutely.
People don't show their face either. That's why I appreciate you, bro. You out here every day. You know what I'm
saying? Every day, bro. Yeah.
You can watch this. You can watch my losses. That's how I feel about me too. Like, you can watch my losses. You can see me come up. Just don't highlight the losses. You know what I'm saying? Because we got some real come ups out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, my kids ain't worried for shit. You feel me? Like, I see it here. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is though. But that's why I say about that. You don't want to draw in too much negativity. We always want to just spread love, spread positivity. Even like I said, for him, shout out to bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing against him, but you see what type of, where this shit going, bro. Like, we were talking about legislation is being in place. You know what I'm saying? For things to start to get a little bit more of a broader spectrum for everybody to eat, man. It's too much money out here for us not to be all involved and tapped into. So that's why I say appreciate you, Chris, bro. Like, this is, I don't even get to meet you, bro, but you the homie. You know what I'm saying? It's automatic.
Absolutely,
like,
bro. Same now, for sure. I'm gonna be out there. eventually too.
For sure.
We
definitely I'm in the summer league for Vegas too. If you come in the summer league, bro.
Word. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to slide out, try to organize some shit, whatever. But it's last minute, but it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, keep me posted on that for sure.
Yeah.
Transitioning where I'm told. So we talked about. So that's a crazy story. as far as a team or a player that you say, like, even over the course of like just the last season, what would you
Mhm.
say? What team or which player would you say has made you the most money?
Okay, yeah, the team that made me the most money, it got to be the Bucks first half, bro. Now it's all
Smash
mainstream.
spot,
Now it's
yeah.
mainstream as fuck. It's
Uh-huh.
mainstream as fuck now. But bro, it was at one point wasn't nobody believing in the Bucks, and the Bucks first half was cash in, bro. It
Yes,
was
they
cash in,
were.
especially on the road. Like they were really good. Like I'm sure I don't know the numbers right now, but if I had the numbers, like you look at from 2018 to now, they made money for sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. That recently I would say like it was Halliburton assists, double doubles was nice. Darius Garland double double was nice. Um, man, shit. What made me the most money, bro? That's crazy. Boston Celtics made me a lot of money, bro. That's why I couldn't. That's why I was torn. That's why I was torn coming in
They want to bet
because I
against
had,
them.
yeah, because I had I had high hopes for them coming into the season, and they started losing. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really lose those hopes for them. So when they got to the finals, I was kind of like gratified, and people
Mm-hmm.
made me look like I was a Celtics fan. But it more like you a capper, you do this shit every day. It's like
Mm-hmm.
kind of good to see the shit unfold how you thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
So I had them to win a division. They won the division by a hair. Then I had them. There was like plus 1,000 for that because you think about the Nets, the 76ers. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
different teams that they were trying to put ahead of them and end up
Mm-hmm.
winning the division. And then obviously get them going to the finals is a beautiful thing, bro. So I could say the Celtics in reality because I have future money on that. But I would say through a course of a season last year, it's probably going to be Darius Garland double double. That shit was just like a machine. It was it was money. I wish I would have had Mo Bamba double double towards the end of the season, a little bit more. And I would say Jalen Green towards the end of the season was a beautiful thing too. Jalen
Oh my
Green, he was
gosh,
going
bro.
over
He
his
went
points like it was
crazy.
nothing. So that was
He
a
went
beautiful thing too.
crazy.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
those are things that highlight for sure, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. He was trying to get that rookie of the year for sure. Shout out
Yeah,
to
at
Scotty
least he
Barnes.
got on the
He,
first. He got on the first rookie though. He did
oh, for
that.
sure. Yeah, no,
He
for
got
sure.
that.
Yeah. Shout out to all the rookies, man. Shout out to the rookies. They definitely made some money for sure for the people, man. I know a lot of people that was cashing on Scotty Barnes blocks, his rebounds.
Oh
Like this
man,
dude was going
yeah.
crazy. Yeah. So shout out to both of them guys, man, and the other rookies as well. Interesting ticket though, when we talked a little bit about it already, but what would you say is the most interesting ticket that that hit for you, involving a player or
Yeah, we
a
talked
team?
about it before the show started, and then
Uh-huh.
I talked about it a little bit here. Is the Darius Garland double double once? Again, I don't know the actual date. I wish I had that in my head. The actual date. You can go back and watch the actual film of it because it's crazy. You think about how fast shit works, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
Darius Garland, pretty much in the course of the game, looked like he was cashing over to have the double double, which was at +2 something. I want to say I remember that much though. I knew it was a big ticket on it because I was really looking for that one to cash. I remember I was keying in on it that day, and he got all the way up to I want to say like 8 in the third quarter. Didn't have a assist, throughout the whole like third to fourth, and they were really blowing out the other team. And from again, I wish I had the team in mind what it was, but it was not a really good team. It was more like a middle of the pack team. I want to say it was the Wizards, but I'll just leave it at that. But in this course of the game, they were up by 20 points. It goes into fourth quarter. That's where props dies. Where when blowouts there, that's where props go to die. So I'm thinking this prop is cooked. It's over, man. Like they're still up 20 points. They got my boy Darius Garland on the bench. He's probably not coming back in the game. And it's like early fourth quarter. I'm like, it's over, man. So obviously they're still up 20 points towards the last, I want to say 7 minutes in between there, the game. And he comes in the game. He only needs 2 assists for to give me the double-double. He comes in the game, gets the double-double, like literally in the first 2 out of 3, like 2 out of the first 3 possessions. And he pulls them out. I'm like, yo,
looked out for you.
and if I go back and look on my Twitter, because I remember tweeting out JB is the GOAT. I remember if I go back on my Twitter, I have the actual game. I'm gonna give y'all, I'll let y'all know exactly what day that was. But JB was the GOAT that day, man. We go back and look at the film. My boy needed just 2 more. The next, like 2 out of 3 possessions, he goes in there and just gets the 2 assists like it was nothing. Like it was crazy too. I want to say they threw in Jared Allen too, and it was like two of those, like one of those was a lob, and I think another one was a kick out three. That was one of the craziest things. Like, bro, I thought that was
Yeah,
cooked. Thought
for
that
sure,
ticket
for
was cooked,
sure.
bro. It was
I
love
can
right there.
imagine.
Shout out to
Shout out
JB
to. I was
Perkins,
about to
man.
say, shout
Hell
out to
yeah.
JB Bickerstaff, man. I had a chance
Yeah.
to meet JB and be around him for a little bit of time when I was in Houston, and I had
Oh,
one
yeah.
of my homeboys was on the Houston Rockets back about 2016.
Hey, we don't need to say no more because they're gonna start thinking it's gonna be Corky Spirit and shit like that. You don't gotta go up to that.
Shout out to
but
JB,
I appreciate you,
Shout out to
JB. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Webb, you remember the ticket? Like, what you get it at? I know it was
bro,
plus money.
I gotta pull it up. I know it was like plus 200 though, because at
Plus
that time it
okay.
was still giving you good value on taking his double, and he still, it was facilitating. He was the facilitator for the team. Even with Rubio in the lineup, I want to say he was in the lineup that game as well. So I'm gonna actually look it up right now because I should have had this done already.
No, that's fine. That's
definitely one of those things, bro. I definitely remember tweeting out JB is the GOAT, and I'm gonna find out what ticket that was. I remember I tweeted it out, and everything I was talking about on the show, and that was one of those moments, bro. I was real. I'm still happy about that one.
I was about to say you remember them ones for sure.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Them ones. Sure. So transitioning, what education time, man? What would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned about handicapping sports since you started, like just in general?
You learn yourself, bro. You learn yourself, and I really think that's so interesting that you say you're a counselor too, because I'm pretty sure you could understand this part. Like, your mental thought process. What tricks you to get into a gamble, and what takes you out of a gamble. And you start to learn yourself a lot more. That's one thing I did throughout this process. Learned a lot from, why was I going into certain situations like this? Or, what made me think that I was going to be able to win this amount of money, and that was a bigger edge rather than having like, an actual edge in the game. Because sometimes you find yourself being a gambler, you know what I mean? Especially when you live gamble. Live gambling is like crack, you know what I'm saying? People say
it can't be.
Especially the way I started off, because I found a great edge and I started taking advantage of it. But a lot of times I found myself in that same moment, looking at that number rather than the edge. So, sometimes the number gets you confused. You know what I mean? It's not the number it's about the green at the end of the day. So that's one thing that's one of the biggest things I say that I learned from myself is not only do you have to bet responsibly, but you have to have your mental along with your hand and eye coordination needs to go right with you handing out that money. Everything needs to go into one stroke. And a lot of that is into, having an edge and being confident in that edge to put your money up, put your money up. It's even more confident when you put your money up, your video up, your time, your effort, and you putting your reputation online. So it's a whole nother ball game when you're doing all that, you know what I mean? So, but for sure, I definitely would say, having the balls to be back in your shit, but having that mindset, like, I know myself. I know when I'm chasing. I know when I'm thinking a little bit more of a hopeful or more of a fan now. You know what I mean? Let me steer away from this shit. You know what I mean? Let me steer away from this. And
keep it as a lean.
yourself. So exactly. And then honestly, I'm learning to not do that too, bro. Like not lean, because people watch me all the time. And they may hear me say a lean and expect me to have money on that shit. And I definitely play a lot of my leans. But sometimes if you give me a game that I'm not looking into and I call it a backwood, we called it a backwood for a reason. You know what I'm saying? But I'll tell you like, oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, I do like this. I think that could possibly happen. You know what I mean? I do see this game going this way. Some people take that shit to heart too. So I'm trying to stay away from that. But that's new. That's new because the homie, he the lean police. I got a homie, his name Larry. He the lean police. You know what I'm saying? He be like, oh, he'd go to you like, oh, you want to make that official? Like, nah, it's cool, bro. Nah,
right.
You know, I keep those on the low.
That's funny, bro. Okay, lean police. I never heard that one before.
Yeah, that's a whole other wild shit, bro.
Right. I can imagine.
That's another funny thing. That's another funny story about like gambling Twitter. We could go into like, who actually put money on their bets and put that shit out there. We wouldn't caught a couple of them motherfuckers out there, man. So, be out there, you don't got to show your ticket. Like I was telling people too, like there's a lot of people, out there pocket watching, bro. Like You know what I mean? Don't worry about what's on my ticket. Don't worry about what's on Chris' ticket. You know what I'm saying? If I share it, I share it. Sometimes I share it, sometimes I don't. I don't gotta
Mm-hmm.
This is my
Right.
shit. You feel me? I
Right. For
gotta tell
sure.
y'all shit. You feel me?
Right.
I don't gotta be upfront with what I'm betting at all. I could just be on
Nothing.
this black stream. You don't gotta tell you nothing. I can just tell you I
Mm-hmm.
like the Lakers today. We
Yep.
gonna win. You know, it could be a Laker podcast. You feel
That's
me?
it.
That's all it could be. But no, but I say that to say but yeah, man, that's definitely a crazy part. But as far as I forgot your first question. Why I was tying that into, bro.
What's the biggest lesson you learned about handicapping
That's
sports since you
definitely a
started?
lesson, bro. That's a
Yeah.
definite lesson. You know what I'm saying? You got to weed the grass, bro. You got to weed the grass.
Mm-hmm.
No sus. That's why it's a blessing that you're able to dissect people like that, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of that shit going on, man. And, you know, again, bro, I appreciate you having me on, bro. That shit is all
Absolutely,
love, man. For
absolutely.
sure.
What about yourself though, Wham? Like, what would you say you've learned the most about yourself in the last 10 years? You know, just as being a better, being a handicapper.
Whew, that's a great question, bro. I'm an apologist for certain guys. You know what I'm saying? I got hope in certain players. You feel me? So I'm not saying I found myself this year doing that shit, and I'm definitely learning from that. So I just say what I learned this year for myself, because you learn something every day. You know what I mean? You learn something every
Mm-hmm.
day. But what I learned this year, as far as gambling on a daily show, um, and this is something I haven't said it out loud at all, but it's one of those things, bro. Like, you know, when you're trying to prove someone wrong rather than just trying to make bread. Sometimes I found myself throughout this last season looking back at my shit like I was just trying to prove somebody wrong here. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you just need to, you know, get your ego out of it. I definitely learned to check myself, you know, through a lot of shit like that too. You know, everyone has their own fall short at you know what I mean? So everybody does that. But I think that's definitely one of the biggest lessons from not just this last NBA season, just this last correlation of, you know, last 3 years, you know, being able to make a smart bet rather than making a you know, a confident bet. I could be confident about a lot of shit. Just like I
Mm-hmm.
said about Lakers, you know, I'm hoping we get something done, you know what I'm saying? I ain't put my money on that shit though.
Right.
But I
That's a
believe we
fact.
are. I do believe that we are in prime position to get somebody. So right now is the best time to take the championship
Mm-hmm.
because it's at plus 2,000 or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be, you know, plus 5. You know what I'm saying? We get a big piece. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
plus 500. So, you know, you get value
Beat
in
the
taking it
market
right
for
now.
sure.
That's for sure.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I haven't put no bread on that. That ain't a lean
Yeah.
I'm gonna endorse.
Yeah. I ain't saying
Yeah,
Wham. Yeah.
like,
Yeah. We got to see what Jeannie go. You know what
we
what she
gotta
got up her sleeve. Her and Palinka for sure, bro. For
come on,
sure,
Jiggy,
for sure.
please.
We need something, Jeannie. It's time to get the band together, man, for sure. All right, cool. And so I got one more question for you, man, before I get you out of
Yeah.
here, man. Um,
Now go ahead, bro. Get
so
them all out, bro.
wait, I've never asked anybody this question yet, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this. Do you remember the longest cold streak you've ever been on and how you overcame that? I think that's a really good question for somebody that might be going through one, right? Or somebody who is totally new to gambling and they don't know that, this cold streak is coming. It don't matter what your process is. You take the people behind the curtain a little bit. When you remember ever going
That
on a
shit
cold
happened
streak
this year. That shit happened this year. I go back and I look at it all the time, bro. I was 13 straight losses, bro, on official plays. Like, as far as the way I grade my bets, I have like I was saying, like, sometimes I bet my leans, but I would never put a full unit on the lean. It's partially going to be like, maybe 10% of 1% of my pay, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
for sure,
we talking about some basis points at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a very, very small percentage. And I wouldn't I would say this though. The way you get out of a cold streak. So in the process of me being in that cold streak, it was kind of exactly what I was saying. I was trying to prove myself, validate myself, validate my a new form of capping, because it wasn't an old form or anything. It was a new form of way of looking at things. And this is something I was adjusting towards the middle of the season. I see that shit failing, bro. Like, I see that shit failing. And my mindset is always stick with my first mind, bro. Because my mom always told me that, you know what I'm saying? Like, my mom always put that in my ear. My grandfather always put me on, having your own word, trusting your gut, you know what I'm saying? Believing in your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And my intuition was losing. You know what I mean? And I was in that mode. I was in that moment like, well, maybe I need to be a little bit more aware of what's going on with myself, right? Like, how can I correct this within myself? And honestly, you will find you, especially when it's like towards the end of that streak. I never forget. I was and it was all through sports. It was all through different sports. It wasn't just all basketball. It was football. It was like everything was losing. So I'm like, I start to see myself getting to that. Oh, I'm losing by half a point, or I lose by 2-3 points. Like this shit, they was winning, and then they just gave it up at the end. Like, okay, all right, I'm on a good track. Don't change too much, but you know what I mean, keep everything at even kill. I tell everyone, like when I like, at least my brothers and shit, like it's peaks and valleys, bro. I used to do mortgage. I used to sell mortgages, and
Okay.
I used to like be a loan officer. And when I used to do that, bro, be up, man. Like you be up. You know what I'm saying? You got a $50,000 check. You know what I'm saying? You up. You like hit the leg. You get motherfucking $1,000 check. Looking at that same check, like fuck, like this
Right.
shit,
Where the
shit
rest
get
of it?
dirty.
Right.
Shit get dirty. So I've always had that even kill mindset, not count too much of my, not over extending myself. I learned that early. You know what I'm saying? I learned that early. Not overextending myself, but along with not trying to get myself out of a loss as well. Like say for instance, we lose 13 units in the course of a week, right? We lose 13 units in the course of a week, which I think at the time, 13 straight losses. I think I was more slowed down. I was down a couple bands. I was down some bands, bro. And it was like, man, I'm telling you, I was sick. I was sick as fuck. And I was telling my sister, like, I ain't about to tell nobody, but I might quit. Like, I might quit, dog.
That's what I'm talking about. That
I
rock
told her
bottom
that. Check this
moment.
out. I told her, like, yeah, I was like, man, I might quit, bro. Like, I just lost way too much. And I'm losing on some bullshit. And she said the same thing I told you, like, man, if you losing like that, like you kind of know you on the right track, and then you already won, you really giving them money back. Like, she kind of like put me in perspective, like as far as like how far I done came in general in life, bro.
For
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? And when you think of that, you can't quit on no 13. You
Mm-mm.
gotta lose. I gotta lose 100 times in a row in order for me to quit now, because just that pep talk that she gave me. So I believe that you got to be even kill. You know what I'm saying? You can't get too high. You can't get too low. Don't let your ego go crazy. It's no such thing as over analyzing the game, but there is a such thing as over betting the game, bro. So you know what I mean? So that's one of the things I definitely would say I learned within myself, bro, through the course of 2 years, especially during the pandemic, bro. You have a lot of time to reflect on a lot of things, a lot of time to think. You know what I mean? I did a lot of that, bro, and that's definitely one of those, bro.
Absolutely. Damn, that's a gem, man. That's a gem, bro. If you listen to it, you might want to go back and listen to it again. Make sure you make sure you heard it all the way through. That's a gem, man. That's definitely a
Man,
gem, bro. Appreciate you sharing that, man. I think
for
so
real,
many
for
people
real.
can take so much out of that for sure, man. For sure. And I appreciate you being here, man. Before
Nah,
we
bro.
wrap it up, bro. Before we wrap it up, talk to the people, man. How can they find you? You part of any discords, any partnerships? Talk to the people, man. Let them know how they can access Win.
Yeah, man, you can always catch out the stuff that I'm involved in, things and the people that I look, I'm involved with. We started off a YouTube channel and a Twitter account. It's pretty much the course of what we've been talking about all year. Banking Sport, whobanking sports.com, who banking sports at banking who on Twitter. And yeah, man, we got all type of cappers there. Don Ricci, my boy Marlon Z, who always coming through. DJ Big Boss, you know what I'm saying? Big Ragu, OG in the game. I'm talking about like OG. You know what I mean? They give him drink tickets when he walk in the casino. You know what I'm saying? He that type. You feel me? So
Uh-huh.
it's a beautiful thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? We doing some that, and then obviously Pub Sports Radio, what you mentioned earlier. We definitely a part of that. Shout out to Jeff Slaughter. Shout out to Jimmy the Bag. Shout out to Babano. Shout out to Ski Dutch. You know what I'm saying? Connor Mack, Clint, everybody, bro, that contribute there. There's a great channel, bro. Definitely your first stop shop, on everything that you want to look into. You know what I mean? Shout out to Pub Sports Radio. We doing that as well. And I might be doing something with them pretty soon. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to work on something on the off season, working on something with Who Banging Sports. We're gonna be working out with something, in the everything is ground level right now. We don't really have anything, but for sure you obviously could anticipate us being back in the NBA season. I'm definitely going to do an NBA breakdown as far as free agency, who I expect the team to be having. We had talked about a little bit right now. Hopefully, I can have my guy Chris on as well. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
We talk a little
bro. You send me the link, bro. I'm there.
You know what I'm saying? We talk a little dialogue about what's, who's available, who we would want to see, reaction to trades that's already happened, things like that. So I am thinking of something like that in the works. One quick show, whatever. And yeah, man, Edge House. I do have a partnership with Edge House. They definitely a great source of research and bets, especially if you like into certain props. They have a lot of props within MLB, NBA, NFL, all different type of ways of being able to create edge for yourself. There's a reason for the name. So Edge House is definitely somebody I was put y'all towards there. And that's pretty much it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you having me on here, my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my kids, they knocked out, bro. We be chilling right now. We good. I got nothing but time.
Absolutely, bro. I appreciate you, man, for being here. When I thought about, this concept, I was like, man, I definitely want to reach out to Wham. You were definitely one of the, top 5 people that I reached out to, Wham, because I really wanted to get you on, man. Let people, kind of hear your story, kind of connect with you, on a different level than you just giving out a play or giving out a ticket. Or them just, writing in comments, you know what I mean, when you're doing your live show on Pub Sports Radio. So shout out to you for being here. Taking time out of your day. I always like to say, when like, time is our most precious commodity, bro. Like, we can spend the money, we can lose the money, but we can get it back. We know how to get it back. We betters, right? So we know how to get it back, but we never can get our time back, bro. So I'm always, appreciative when people just lend me their time. We've been on for an hour and 5 minutes. I told you I know how long. You was like, Chris, let's just go, bro. Let's see how long it is. Bro. You know what I mean? So
it is what it is.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man, more than you know, bro. Way more than you know, man. At this time, man, we've come to the end of the show. To the guests, I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to DM me on Twitter at crispycappin, 2 P's, 2 N's, or email me at crispycappin@gmail.com. If you'd like to see your favorite capper on the show, if you think they'd be interested in being interviewed, maybe we can set that up. Be sure to show the show some love on the way out. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the notification bell on if you enjoy the content, because there should be a lot more in store. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, supporting in all the various ways that you do, whether it's buying the Crispy Cappin merch or, it's just wise words of wisdom, the DMs that I get on Twitter, the tips that I get on Twitter. Definitely appreciate all that. Let's keep educating ourselves, getting sharper with our picks, growing and smashing the books, man. Until next time, good luck on all your MLB bets, your soccer bets that you're placing right now in the summer. I'm out.